Hey gang, it's Chris Angel coming at you for another episode of Marketing for the Rest of Us. And tonight we're talking about timidity, timidness versus conviction, right? I can't hear you when you're timid. This is an interesting thing because many times when people are starting out their marketing journey, they've stirred up the courage to create a video. And in that courage and in showing up to the video, there's all sorts of chatter in the background that is uncertain and unconfident. And so when it comes out of your mouth, it comes out sounding timid. The challenge with sounding timid is that, number one, it's not interesting. But moreover, I don't trust you. It's not that you're not a good human being. But when somebody is unconfident, unsure, uncertain, and I can hear that in their voice, then I don't know how they're going to lead me into the freedom or the transformation that they're trying to talk about. So it's really important that as you find your message, I mean, that's the first thing, right? Is you have to find the message. If you're just talking convictedly about something that that isn't really the conversation you're here to lead in the world, then that's going to be a phase for you. You're going to dip your toe in the water and then you're going to move on to something else. And you can keep moving on to other things and speak with conviction, but it's finding your message, the message you're here to lead for the rest of your life, your body of work that you're going to leave on this planet. It's finding that keeps you in the game and moves past just the next transaction and actually gets you to the place where you have a body of work by the time you're dead, and you leave a legacy. You leave a legacy. Because this message that you're leading, this conversation you're leading is coming from a deeper place than just a transaction. So that's the first thing. I mean, ultimately, you've got to feel your truth. Conviction comes from truth. So that's the first step. Now, I have coached people through finding their truth. And then in finding the truth, there is the next step, which is actually getting comfortable with the repetitions of speaking that truth. It's in speaking the truth over time. It's iteration. It's over and over and over again that you begin to feel the conviction. You can already feel the truth of the conversation you're here to lead, your important work, right? You can already feel the conviction that this is important. This needs to be said. But then it's often common to turn on the camera and then kind of be like, I feel like we should talk about. It's very timid. And so there are some things you can do. I'm going to give you a couple things here to do to convey conviction and confidence through the camera, even when you're not fully confident in what it is you're not fully confident in the format that you're capturing your content in. It's not that you're not confident in the truth of it. It's that you're not quite confident yet in the format. Meaning, if it's a video, which I highly recommend because video is one of the greatest mediums that you can repurpose in all sorts of different ways. And we teach that in our Groundswell Method intensive class. How do you capture this message in a convicted way such that you could repurpose it as a podcast, put it on your YouTube channel, your Facebook page? Like, how do we take it and repurpose it everywhere? So let me give you a couple examples here or ideas for how to find the conviction as you deliver something that in a format that may be unfamiliar or new to you, okay? So here's the first. The first is just tonality. Can you hear in my voice? It is a convicted tone. It's not like this. It's not like, and I'm not saying you have to yell, right? I'm not saying that you have to be all over the place or angry. I could do this quieter and still have the tone be convicted rather than timid, okay? Interesting in tonality, one of the things that can happen is, and I don't do this consciously, I'm not like, when you finish your sentence on a downswing instead of an upswing, when you finish it on a downswing, there is more conviction in that. Now, like I said, I don't sit there and I'm not sitting there going, well, let me finish this sentence on a downswing. It just comes because I'm so convicted about it. But you'll find that when you, if you can help yourself practice repetitions, by speaking in a downswing. Speak like you're scolding your kid, or speak like you're trying to get your message heard to somebody who's not hearing you. And you'll start to find that in this method, you'll find that you get your tonality down. And that goes a long way in speaking with conviction, right? It goes a long way in conveying conviction and confidence. Now, what's cool about that, even if you're not feeling super confident, that if you could affect your tone that way, you'll actually start to feel your own conviction. Like I said before, you already have the conviction of the truth, but in a new format, in a new medium, like a video, for example, the format may be throwing you off. So if you can stare into the camera and end on a downswing, be forthright, be stern, be confident, that can go a long way in not only other people feeling like they can trust you and believe you, but you actually feeling the power of that, okay? Another thing is pausing. Sometimes we're so in our head that we don't pause. We feel like dead space in the air would be awkward, but it's actually not. I can sit here and hold space for this conversation and pause to allow you to stay with me in the conversation. It's not just the pause, but also if it's a video and you're watching my eyes, you can pause with people and they will stay with you. And there's something about that creates confidence in you and in them. They're confident in you that you know what you're talking about. Now, again, you could do all these tricks without having truth. And you might fool some people, but at some point, time reveals your true colors. So if you don't have the convicted truth in your message, and all you're doing is finishing your sentences on a downswing and pausing and making eye contact into the camera, but your message isn't founded in truth, then over time, people will see it for what it really is. They will see you for who you really are, okay? So you have to start with the message. But once you have that, you can start to affect the way you convey that truth through tonality, through pauses, and then I just gave you eye contact, right? Through eye contact. That's it, gang. Look, try that. Here's what I want you to do. This week, as you do videos, I want you to just try that. Speak that way. If you haven't been if you're a softer personality, I want you to try to pause. I want you to try to use your sternest voice. Like, that's the funny thing, right? Is if you're a mild personality, okay, and you use your sternest voice, to those of us out here, it may still sound fairly safe, right? Or fairly not timid, but just you think you're blowing us away with this stern talk, and we're over here like, oh, that's normal. So that's what I want you to do this week in your videos, is I want you to start to practice the tonality of things. I want you to pause. And while you're pausing, I want you to stare into the camera. Just practice that. 1, see how it feels to you. 2, see if there's any different reactions to your videos as you do it. Okay? That's it, gang. That's it for tonight. Thanks for hanging out with me in this episode of Marketing for the Rest of Us. If you're on the hunt for your truth, if you're on the hunt for the conversation that you want to lead, you know there's something stirring in your soul. You know there's a bigger conversation for you to lead, but it feels fuzzy. It's not clear. Then I invite you to apply for my 6-week program, the Groundswell Method Intensive. The best place to start for that is my free course called Marketing for the Rest of Us, the course. Once you get through that course, on the last page, there's an application to the intensive, but the free course gives you a total taste test of what we're going to dive deep into in the intensive. So recommend you start there. Go to groundswellmethod.com to sign up for the free course, and then click the apply button to apply for the 6-week program. Thanks for hanging out with me here tonight. Here's to you and your conviction and confidence. See you tomorrow.